Hello, guys. I think we have plenty of time, really, and I think we might let guys 2 minutes more to join us. Like in 2:02, we'll start, so everybody can join us. And it's 2:02. I hope that everybody joined who wanted. So today we'll speak about humanistic approach to time management. I'm Oleksandra Derevytska. I'm a quality assurance expert from ELEKS, and I have kind of kink with all the procedures and processes stuff. I studied psychology at National Medical University and have practiced it like a hobby my entire life. As a third point that you should know about me before we can start this session is that I had more than 30 years of struggling with time and blaming myself of what I thought was laziness and shallowness. But a year ago, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and that literally changed my life. That's the purpose why I want to share with you with all this time management materials today. So maybe some of you will find any hint for yourself that will make your life a little bit easier. First of all, I'll speak to you about all that ADHD, the terminology. What's that? It's ADHD. It's a part of neurodiversity. Neurodiversity, it's a word to explain the unique ways of people brains work. Like modern science used this word and word neurotypical people instead of using such not proper word like normal. You see on this image that we have quite a broad variety of neurodiversity: dyspraxia, dyslexia, autism, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And all of them have some strengths and some minuses. It's really important to know that people with all this spectrum do have some differences in social preferences, in ways of learning, way of communicating. It might be used as their unique strengths. Each one of 10 person here, just right now, might have a tendency to one of those divergences, and that's why it's so crucial to speak about that. And moreover, when a person is experiencing long-term stress, some natural disasters, catastrophes, long-term disorder, war, just like all of us have, even neurotypical persons start to show signs of some part of neurodiversity spectrum. And things that were common and easy for them earlier become difficult and unusual and need to be managed with it. During this lecture, I will mostly speak about ADHD as examples because it's like my theme. And I want to share with you some life examples, not those about my mother's friend daughter, or something like that. piece of joke. It's that during the lecture about time management, we mostly will speak about people who have time blindness. While I was searching an explanation and good illustration for you about what's that, I found this one image. I think many of you can find something similar to you. You see that here it's some activities almost same while they're in real time and as they are in our brain, like eating. In this picture, eating took 20 minutes in real time. It felt like 25. It's okay. It's easy to manage with that. But there are some stuff that are crucially different, like checking phone. While you're thinking that it took you only 5 minutes to scroll your TikTok, bam, it's already minus 1 hour of real life. Or you thought that you were listening for some boring lecture already for an eternity, and it's only started 5 minutes ago. These things made us very difficult to plan our time, and it's okay. When I asked my friends what time management is to them, they told me it's a technique to do more in less time. I cannot agree for 100%, because first of all, management is a process, and it's a very rigid process. Definitely has its main goal, like proper time spending, but there are also many secondary goals. Prioritizing things, saving resources, time, money, health, helping managing some unexpected stuff. When you Google it, just on the first front page of Google, you will see quite a big list of methods. And if you Google any book of time management, you will see just the same list, maybe with some minor differences. I was there, and I know it's really overwhelming and hard to stop knowing them. And also when you start diving deeper and trying to find something for yourself, it's really disappointing that they might not work for you as they're supposed to, and you're supposed to customize them, but nobody tells you about that. Like Pomodoro. Pomodoro is the most classic thing ever in time management. Even in Chrome browser, you have that extension with little tiny cute tomato icon that helps you making clusters for your work. Like you need to finish some task that you hate. You set your timer into several intervals. They are focus time and break time. When it's your focus time, usually it is 25 minutes, you are focusing, it's obvious. And when you have your break time, usually for 5 minutes, you are making yourself comfortable, drinking water, or something like that. And repeat the cycles. It's not hard. It's working system which work for almost all people, but it doesn't work for everybody. Why? Because of hyperfocus, as an example. Hyperfocus, it's one of characteristic for ADHD people. It's a very fragile state of mind when you just deep dive into your work. You forget everything. You forget about your water. You forget about the real world existing outside your mind. You just focus in. This state can prolong several hours, or like almost a day. But when it's interrupted by your timer zooming, the magic can be broken, and it would be quite difficult to make yourself to go back to your task after you broke this state of mind. For such a case, they invented like Flowtime toggle, deep work. There are many synonyms. It's like Pomodoro, but in another way. Instead of making boundaries when you work, you just dive deep into your work and work as long as you want, as long as it's okay to you to focus into your task. And once you are distracted suddenly of nowhere, you just stop doing this task and start doing something else. Maybe some else activity, I don't know, checking your emails, or doing some breaking things, water, dinner, having a walk, for example. And in this case, it would be easier because like interruption went from inside of yourself. It would be easier to make yourself to continue this work later on. Back to our business. Usually everything in this world made of cycles. Time management is such a thing. It is also not normally a cycle. Like, well, we imagine that it should be plan, do. Normally, it is you're setting your goal, you're putting yourself into context, what's going on, you're planning, you're acting, and then you're reviewing your results and repeating again and again and again. You may just plan and act, but then you can't be sure that you really achieve your goal. What your goal was, first of all. Was it something for yourself, or was it something for, I don't know, for your teachers? If you miss a review point, you won't be able to replan activity and make some changes to make your planning and acting better next time. Cycles again. I love cycles. This image is a golden standard about how healthy person is supposed to live through the day. You see here, they're talking about melatonin and cortisol secretion. The first one, melatonin, is a hormone that makes you sleepy. And in all whole handbooks, it said that melatonin starts its secretion around 10 p.m. Cortisol is the hormone that awakes you. Usually, it is said that it's active on 6 a.m., for example. All handbooks are the same, and all the schemas are same. You won't be able to find any other scheme. I am almost ready to bet about that. But we have sleep disorders, for example. It's a real state, and it's not treatable, by the way. Delayed sleep-wake phase disorder is a state when a person goes to bed due to postponed melatonin secretion 2 or 4 hours later, and person awaked normally also 2 or 4 hours later due to secretion of cortisol. You might have heard about it as about owl and lark persons, morning and evening persons. It's important to take this in mind because for this one disorder, delayed sleep-wake phase disorder, it's not treatable. Only you can make some little hacks with coffee or something like that, but it's not working on a long-term distance. And keep it in mind, because when you ask Noel to be intellectually active and productive at 6 a.m., you're going to have a mess next to your coffee table, almost for sure. And when you ask Lark to have you put some papers and finish some documentation after 6 p.m., Lark is dead inside about the time, and it's okay that he can't help you. It's due to our circadian rhythms. And as well as you keep it in mind and know about yourself, which kind of person you are. Are you a morning one or are you an evening one? It's easier for you to plan some activities. If there is no possibility to move your schedule, like for example, you're in university, you have some lessons stick to the calendar, or you're working in office and there are some bunch of meetings for other country. There are some tricks. For example, for girls, it's a good idea to start day from some sports or from cleaning your kitchen after yesterday's party, because all that moving helps you to produce all the daylight hormones faster. For larks, otherwise, it's a good idea to stop putting inside yourself tons of coffee after 3 p.m. and just go to bed as early as you can and as you want, and start doing some stuff early in the morning, not late in the evening. When you know your strengths, you can adapt your timing and make really more. Because people are different and we need to keep it in mind. Context slides is what was I spoke to you on the slide about cycle of time management. You should have answers to all your questions: who, where, what, why. Like an example from my own life. I have a car, and normally I'm using it whenever I need to get somewhere. My singing classes or my mom's place to take care about her plants. My car is old, and sometimes I need to leave it at car repair service. It's not the cheapest one attraction in the world. But still, my car under repair service, and I need to get to my singing classes and get to my mom's place. How can I solve the situation? The very first answer, the very first idea would be using taxi. But I live in Kyiv. Taxi in Kyiv requires some money too, and I need that money for car repair. Next idea would be definitely public transport. I am almost sure I need. Might be good idea, cheap, regular, but triple time instead of what I could use on my car. Other idea was to temporarily move my singing classes into online and ask my mom's neighbor to back up me. Fourth option was to ask my friend to borrow me a car so I can balance my timing with my budget and my quality standards. And it was possible just because I understood who, where, what, why, what I really need, and how I can manage it so that I choose the most perfect method of time in my schedule. One of our helpers in planning are trackers. Trackers are good for reviewing sessions because, it's always a good idea to have some documentation and not putting everything into your mind. You need your brains for some more interesting activity. Many tools have trackers built in, like your phone definitely can track your daily steps in background. And you can then review if you had enough activity through the day. You can have any trackers to check if you had too many or too less working hours per day or per week. Main idea with trackers is not overusing them. You really have no need to track all year long. But a week or two in season, it's a good practice. Once I have had 2 jobs and learning classes in parallel, like 3 months, and they were very interesting and challenging for me, so I did not count them as working hours. So why do I just count them if they're inspiring me? Something inspiring can't be something working in my mind. My brain works like that. But unsurprisingly, I was exhausted. And when I tracked my time, I found that I had 45 hours per week for one job, 30 hours for second job, and 20 additional hours for classes. obvious that I slept only 7 hours per day, and it was too little, and I still had no any spare time to chill, and it's impossible to work like that for months. After I review it, thankfully to trackers, I fixed my schedule, and I now had like 40, 20, and 15 hours for all of my jobs and classes, and I had almost 2 days for sleeping, chilling, and some family activities. Trackers might be boring. It's okay. Trackers might be difficult to maintain. It's also okay. So if you decide to start them, better start from one at a time, and then like review if it's okay for you, if you want to add something more. Also, please remember, its trackers should work for you, not you working for trackers. So not overuse them. Browser of trackers, diaries, universal tool. You might heard about such a routine as morning and evening pages that you're supposed to write to make your life much better. It's a really working practice, but you'd better also understand why, again, you're using it for context. Because morning pages will help you put yourself together, recap what plans you have for today, reduce some anxiety, and focus on your tasks. Evening pages will help you put your thoughts out from your head onto the paper, and make your sleeping hours faster, deeper, easier. You're free to combine all the tools, all the regimes, and you're free to combine all the tools, because diaries could be both paper, could be audio, they could be electronic ones. Usually they say that paper are a little bit better because it activates more muscles and brain cells, but just check what is better for yourself, because again, we are all different. Not a coffee break, thank you. Sorry, but it's one of the methods that could be working for someone. Like, if I finish this task, I'll have a cookie. Doesn't work for me, but I know people for whom it works. Try it. If it's worked for you, that's great. If it doesn't work for you, don't blame yourself. It's totally okay. Like, when I think about these methods, I always crying inside me that I'm an adult woman. I can afford myself cookie without finishing some dull tasks. Motivation. Again, like about cookies, but overall about motivation. In the right column, you see the list of motivations that is more or less about neurotypical persons. The left column is more or less about ADHD people, but each person could combine these or even have some additional one motivations, and it's okay. Or you might only have like some one of the list. When I got an invitation to host this session, my husband told me, I bet you decline. No, I'm competitive. And so even so I was afraid about some public speeches, I prepared this presentation, and I'm today here just because it was a competition inside me. My best friend, for example, she's very disciplined, and whenever she has slots in her calendar to do any activity, she's doing them. But whenever she has a day without no appointment, she just can lie down in her bed and not knowing what to do with herself. She sticks to discipline. Know yourself, adapt your timing, adapt your daily routine to your strengths. Find what is motivating for you. find what drives you. Also find what loves your spirits, so you can avoid it. Okay, already we covered 50% of slides, so going on. While we have some motivation, lowness on one side, we also have some distractions that break in our will to stick to the plan. And that's okay. There are some hints that would help you, like piece of ice. Playing with cube of ice in your hands activates some neurons in your hands, their representation in your brain. It lowers your anxiety, lowers your fear, and helps you to focus. When ice is not an option, you're outside, for example, some sour taste can help you, but better use sour jellies and whiskey sour left for your Friday night. Fidget toys like fidget cubes, pop-its, squishes, all that toys that you need to play with in your hands with. They were discovered as a help for kids with attention disorders, and they can help adults in their stress too. Then we start our journey into methods, actually, of time management. This is Swiss cheese. It was really surprising for me when I found that it has a naming, because it was how my brain worked. When I have some tasks I need to think about, I can't just work on it sitting straight at my desk. I need to move, I need to go to the post office, I need to cuddle my dog, I don't know, make myself dinner, and thinking about the task on my background. And when all the tasks will click up, I'll sit and do everything just in half an hour, because I already know all the questions I should cover up. I knew what graphics I should add, what people I should ask for some specific data, because I already thought about it on my previous day, but not next to the desk, just like layering cheese in my head. When you have more than one task to do, and you can't use that cheese method, you might also like making lists, so-called to-do list. They can be paper in your diary or in some special templates. They might be digital, like the left one, the screen for Microsoft Teams. That was good and was bad. Digital ones are dependent from your memory in phone, from your battery status, from your connection. Paper ones would be lost with all your recipes in the pocket and something like that. But they're good as an idea, and you just can find what form is better for you. Maybe you should combine them. Always, yes. I don't have like a universal decision for what will be good for all of us, but I'm providing an idea that we should adopt and adapt all the methods and slightly customize them for yourself, and finally can make some ideas how we can customize them. This one is a screenshot from my favorite application, which is supposed to help you clean your house. It's Today. In this application, you are suggested to make as many rooms as you need it. For example, I have a space for each room in my apartment, plus car, garage, and some beauty procedures. Afterwards, you created all the rooms. You can add them later also. You're supposed to select from pre-existing tasks or create your own by hand. Select frequency, select effort that you will need to do this task, select some notifications so you can see notifications, or just put them off and check when you have time. There is a competition option. It was added like several months ago, which helps people with ADHD, for example, drive their competition motivation. And you're compete with today person who will do more of a cleaning. It could be customized not for cleaning, but for some work tasks. Other good methods is HABITICA. You see, I'm adding some gamification methods because about Google Calendar we all know, and gamifications is a cool method to make our life brighter, emotions bigger, and it's also one point of driver of motivation that can help you go through your task list. In HABITICA, you're creating your little hero. You're putting simple stats to him, like strength, health, and making some tasks which are supposed to grow its strength, grow his health, or make them lower if it's some, I don't know, something bad that you are trying to avoid. For example, you're trying to reduce your smoking. In this gaming mode, it's really funny to do. Another one gamification app is Forest. It's just tracking your time and growing your little forest. You see that there are several species of trees which you can grow while you are deep focusing. When you grow enough trees, you can buy like a real one seed, and someone will grow it for you in the mountains to make our planet greener. Definitely we have an option to make all that funny gamification in paper or in any other form. Again, adapt. In this mood trackers, it's supposed to color some pieces of this art in the color that is significant for your mood for today. Also, they could be used like to color a part of the picture, but you have your daily routines, your breakfast, your dinner, your groceries, and something like that. And at the end of the day, you see also color of the picture. It could be also quite motivating. But trackers might be really hard to maintain, reminding you about that, and it could be some kind of resource consuming too. And this part we are going to spoon theory. It was created to illustrate how a person with some harsh skin disorder is able to manage their life. And afterwards, psychiatrists use it as an explanation for patients with depression and why it's hard for a person with depression to manage all daily tasks. Like an example, this girl starts her usual day with 12 spoons. Spoon is a metaphor for energy. She starts her day with 12 spoons. And normally it's okay for her to make dinner, which costs her 3 spoons, take a shower, go for a walk. Each activity costs her 3 spoons, and make something else. But there are some bad days, high pain days, for example, when from the start of the day, she already has only 3 spoons, and she needs to make a decision what to do. You cannot spend more spoons than you have. But good news, normally you can recharge your spoons by some pleasant activity or temporarily boost it with tricks, with coffee. Me, myself, can add myself 3 more spoons per day just by having an hour-long pause in the middle of the day with my dog or with a book, and a spoon per each cup of coffee. It's a reminder for you that when you populate in your calendar, you need to remember that you not only have some free time that you should populate, but you have also some energy and you can't overuse it and do like this for all the time. Good practice is to pre-add or block in calendar your meal times and breaks as a slot in your calendar, and afterwards adding all your communication, meetings, the lessons, I don't know, everything you need in your day routine. Good idea with schedule is color coding, like you see in this example. This is the girl that created this one. Color coded all breakfasts and lunch. They're blue, and it's easy to see where she has some meal during the day. And communication and exercises are pink. But in this example is that your email slots are all different colors. It's you need some additional energy just to read the schedule. So, but better color code, or put some icons, for example, to easy read of the calendar without actually reading each title. And remembering about our contest and goals, imagine that somewhere in the schedule you have also 3 slots with 1 hour duration, like on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for example, after the workday, and you want to use them for self-education. If your goal is to achieve some progress and get your diploma, then it would be logical that you would use all these 3 slots for one same activity. For example, all of them will be German classes. But when your goal is not a diploma but having some fun, then your slots might be for some different activities. For example, 1 for German class, 1 for ukulele class, and 1 is just for reading your book in the park. Because both options are good. Just review your goals and select the right one message for you, or maybe create a new one. For those of us who are happy enough without strict everyday schedule, but have a list of tasks per period of time, they invented agile frameworks. I think that most of you already heard about agile, SCRUM, KANBAN. If not, you can Google for some additional details. For this words SCRUM and KANBAN, the main idea is that you have a list of tasks. Also, they can be called to-do or backlog. When you start some task, you move it into your in progress column. Once it's done, you may move it into done column. Usually, companies use a really big wall with pre-populated grid and stickers that are moving physically from one column to another. For your personal use, it's good to start from Trello. It's also one of the most common tools, and it's easy to understand. Also have some manageable and customizable for yourself columns where you can create as many tasks as you wish and move them how it's better for you. But from what task should you start? Eisenhower already made this decision matrix, and there is no time management presentation in the world where Eisenhower's career is not mentioned. It is quite illustrative as it is, but the trick is how to manage it. Because, like, first intention is to do all urgent, important stuff. The green one, do it now. After that, you move into important, not urgent, or urgent, not important, and the last, not urgent, not important. But the trick is that if you always start from your important, urgent, and not finish it, not switching activity until you finish it, you're risking to end up like this. When you have fire everywhere and all your not urgent important tasks are already also urgent. This one brain tracing method slide is just another one method to name all the prioritization. And it also not quite helpful about what to do with it. I have a mix of slides here. So what do we want about this? First of all, we want to understand context and where are we and what do we want to do. Almost there. For example, some people start their working day from eating frogs. Frogs are those unpleasant tasks that you're usually trying to avoid too until they happen to be those urgent and important. So on one way, you can first plan your first hour for frogs, then, for example, 2 hours for some urgent important stuff and not urgent important, and then reviewing and redoing. I usually start my working hours 2 hours later than my colleagues. So I start my day from 2 hours session with urgent tasks. Then I switch to not urgent. And last 2 hours, when I'm the only one left in the office, I spend for urgent, not important tasks. Or for tasks that require super focusing from me. So no one can distract me this time. Multitasking is the one that left. Please never do this. Our life is fast. I know it, and it might look obvious that you need to do as much stuff as you can in parallel. You might even think that you are good in doing this, and you might be till some level. The problem is when you're regularly multitasking, your brain is not able to see the efficiency you lost anymore. Like people who use drugs or overuse alcohol are not able to see that they are not as smart and as fast as you used to be. Multitasker's brain is broken too. You can search in TEDx researches about it. For example, moving machines are not so productive when they're supposed to do so many switches between tasks as people try to do. It is a lot about chemical processes in our brain, not the theme of this lecture and not like the theme I'm good at. So better believe me just right now for it and Google brain reinforcement system later. It will be quite useful for all of us. Definitely there are some amount of combinations of tasks that we can combine. For example, you can read your book while you're going abroad by train, but you cannot read the book when you drive your car. You might be allowed in some countries to listen to your audiobooks while driving, but you cannot listen both your audiobook and your mom same time, for example. So like be wise and combine it properly. Because all people are different, and discovering what you are help you adopt to circumstances and help you adopt your circumstances to your life. And when you know yourself, you can understand others and help others to understand yourself. It's like all for me. Maybe you have some questions. Also recommendations, you can photo this slide, or they will send you presentations. And now I will stop sharing my screen and check for some questions. Do we have any? I think no.
I suppose we can give some time for students to write their questions in Slack, and I see that some of them are typing, so we will wait. Do you have access to Slack?
I have access in Slack, yes. I don't see a channel for today's lectures.
It's in the top, like not in the top. Do you see there is a for Cert July?
I only see channels for June.
I can read it for you if you want.
It would be good, thank you.
Okay. What apps for schedule can you recommend?
What else? Sorry, repeat please.
What apps for schedule can you recommend?
I'd recommend just built-in inform your calendars for the start. It's quite easy to see in them, and they are portable, so you can both use your phone, your laptops, and you can check them on your friends' phones and laptops if you want, if your battery, for example, is low. I'm usually using Google Calendar, and I have a paper one as a duplicate, because I'm a paper one type of person. I need to see everything in my hands first of all, and then after I populate my paper calendar, I put it into my digital one, so I can always bring it with myself. Also, there are some periods of time when I use, for example, Trello, because it has integration with Google Calendar, and also Trello has a good notification system. It can repeat your task and can send you pushes. You can set some rules when you see or don't see this slot and this task in your dashboard. Also, like when I was searching some of the best apps of the best 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and a year ago, for myself, I understood that the easier app is, the easier it is for use and the better it is.
Okay, thank you. We have another question. Can I ask you? So, are there any potential challenges or obstacles when implementing a humanistic approach to time management? How can they be overcome?
First of all, you need to understand for yourself, like not some emotional phrase like, "Hey, I'm an artistic person. You need to search my boundaries for yourself," but understand yourself and articulate it for yourself firstly. Like, I'm an old person. I need to get up later. I'm a little bit chaotic person. I need to be sure that I see all the plans that managers have for me, like all the calls stuff, not only when I'm inside the system, but also have some duplicates into my phone. And I was articulating by words with manager about that, and usually people is quite open when you explain your needs to them. And usually people are friendly enough when you can explain them what's going on with you and why you really need some additional stuff to help with your struggles. So the best advice here is communication.
Thank you. And also, okay, we have another question. What do you recommend to do if it's hard to concentrate and I can't do anything without music background?
It's totally okay. It's also one of characteristic for ADHD people, but not only for them. This inner needness to hear to music, for example, or to play with something in your hand. I'm playing with my pen. It's okay. Just don't blame yourself that you need something additional while you're doing the task. If you need the music while you're doing the task, it's okay. Just be sure that your headphones are not making noise to your neighbors, for example, and do it. Some gadgets like pens, fidget toys, some tastes like sour also can be helpful in case when you are in public and you need to concentrate. I have my friend, she's also kind of from this ADHD spectrum. When we have a conversation, we can have really long conversation, hour, 2, 3. Usually I'm playing with something in my hand and she's playing in color book in her phone, and we don't have many eye contact, but we know about ourselves that it's not because we are not loving each other, and no, but because it's our need, and we articulated it to each other, and now we are good in it. If you need music, use music. You need something in your hands, use it.
So thank you. We have a feedback for you in Slack if you will have an opportunity to join, read them because they're really nice.
Oh,
So, yes, thank you very much. That was amazing. Really, really thank you to. That's really amazing for me especially. Thank you.
thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you. So have a nice time.
You too. Have a nice evening. And
Thank you.
also for our participants, the next lecture will take place soon. And also the IT company ELEKS have a request for you. We will send you a Google form that you can fulfill and share your feedback, share your reviews for these lectures, and they will be very grateful if you do that. Thank you guys. See you soon. And thank you for this lecture.